and now we're starting to see some of the consequences of that. And there's a number of things that we've lost too. We've lost some of the programs that really help children get excited about learning, things like art and music, and some of those really connect to other programs, things like SHOP that allow kids to work with their hands and understand that there's other things than just going to college that they could do out there in the world. And music, of course, really is very highly related to people learning math or maybe becoming engineers or other, not just rock musicians.
Yes.
And so it's good to sort of put that diversity, and we haven't been doing as well with the basics as we should do. Then the other thing that I think is really critical to take a look at that I haven't seen very many people looking at all is that in the 20th century we really were an industrial society. And just as the industrial society had an agricultural society that came before it, that agricultural society didn't go away, and that's still an important component of our society. And the industrial piece of our society isn't going away, but we're also now an information society. And we haven't really taken a big look at our educational system and say, how do we add the perspective of the reality that we now live in a global society and an information-based, and a society that's now what they've been terming an information society, but that our society has changed, is changing, and so how do we really provide for the reality that kids are living in a more multimedia world, and that the types of jobs that they were doing, when I was growing up, are not the kinds of jobs that kids coming out of school are going to be doing tomorrow. We need to look at how do we facilitate that. We need to sort of reclaim our ability to innovate. That's
okay.
And that's something that I think has been to a degree hampered at the government level. We've gotten into a system where we're really protecting sunset industries or industries that are failing in order to protect the vested interests of a few wealthy elite, and not against people who are innovating a lot of the time. So we need regulations because we don't want to, we've seen what happens with deregulation in the banking industry, and the metaphor of deregulated traffic is always a scary one for me. But we need to look at how we can allow for the existence of new roles in our medical fields that will allow for the better delivery and lower cost of delivery of healthcare services. And I've got a lot of details I could go into that, but probably this isn't the time.
As a matter of fact, we had a program here where I interviewed some people from Chemeketa, which is our community college here that is in 3 counties, you see, and what they're doing right next door here, developing the nursing program here for this area, and how crucial that is.
Oh yeah,
you
absolutely.
see, as we're getting an older, aging population, more of us are going to need some help, and we need medical attention, medical care by well-trained people, and that's one of the things that we should be doing through our educational system. And the community college is part of that.
Well, absolutely. Part of what the issue right there that I see too, that goes a bit beyond it, is there is a shortage of primary care providers, doctors and nurses, and because of the way things are structured, I don't see that really changing in any fundamental way, even though Chemeketa is doing some good work. I think that there's a real opportunity to take advantage of some of the things that they've been doing in third world countries and other countries as well, with what they call telemedicine, where you have diagnostic equipment, you have somebody who's not trained at the same level that a nurse would be, but under the supervision of a primary care provider who can draw upon that person's expertise along with the expertise of expert systems to be the person who's delivering the healthcare services. That's more cost effective, it creates a new medical role, but there's not legislation. In fact, if you wanted to do that today in most places in America, you'd likely end up getting sued. and that's because of the regulatory system. And so we need to provide for these new roles that are enabled by technology to be developed with the input and feedback from the existing medical professionals and industries to really guide us as to how to do this in a way that's not going to have a negative impact, but is going to open up new frontiers.
Okay, so we got just about 2 minutes now, and it's kind of a summary statement. What are some of the things that you're going to work on now as a candidate here for House District 23?
Well, fundamentally, I'm a big picture person. My background in the computer field is primarily in research and development, solving problems both from a social perspective as well as an engineering perspective, really kind of helping the engineers, the marketing people, and everyone else communicate, work together to solve problems. And really, the way you solve problems is you stop doing the things that aren't working and you start doing things that do work. And that's just a principle that we have to apply at the state government and put in measurement and accountability to do that. So really, we just need to go at it from that perspective when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to the economy, when it comes to our security, with drug treatment programs and law enforcement, just on down the board, educational system. There's things we can do to really improve things across the board, and most of them aren't very expensive. It's just really allocating the resources in the right way.
Okay, so we have a job to do in the near future, and I'm very glad that you're part of the workers for the near future.
Well, thank you.
Thanks
Thank you
very much
Frank.
for running for office.
You're welcome.
Okay.